All right, this is it. This is it. Let's get started. Okay. Why music? Why would you do this to yourself? Every time that someone has come up to me over the last 15 years of being a signed artist dealing with this, people come up to me and say, hey man, can I buy you a drink? Sit down and tell me I want to do what you do. And I would ask them, well, why do you want to do that? And they would say, well, I love music. And I would say, run. They would say, tell me what to do. And I would say, run. And I would walk them through this concept of, is there anything else that you can do that would make you happy? And they really don't, they're expecting me to say something like, okay, man, here's what you got to do, man. You got to grind and you got to start writing a song every day. And you got to, I just said, listen, man, is there anything else that'll make you happy? Is there any job, like does your dad own a company that you can work at and be happy and you can meet a girl or a guy and get married, or you can be a backpacker and travel around and be a nomad? Like, is anything else going to get you to a state of peace? Not like, hey, I'm happy and I'm having a good time, like, because you're talking about a lifestyle choice. You're talking about you want to write songs and try to put them out and try to be a professional musician, and you don't want to do covers, you want to do your music, which comes with it's a whole thing. All of the professional musicians that I know who are basically everyone who's not a writer, everyone who's a session musician or a producer, or, you know, anyone who supports the artist, they usually say something like, I'd love to do what you do. I wish I could do what you do. And a lot of the artists after a while say, man, I wish I could just do what you do. I wish I could just play all these different sorts of music and have a different gig every week and play just the hits and just have fun and get paid cash money and leave. Because the artist is the one who pays their bills. The artist is the one who gives them the money when they play alongside them, and then they get to go home and you're left just paying everyone. And after a while, that stuff starts to add up and it starts to hurt and it starts to change how you feel about the journey of you just making your songs, man. So I tell them, is there anything else that you can do within music that would make you happy, or do you have to write songs? And sometimes they would say, yeah, man, you know, I just like want to hang out and like jam and like, you know, write my songs so that I can be like that guy on stage every once in a while. But nah, it doesn't sound that great when you put it that way. And I'm like, all right, well, look, I'm not trying to burst your bubble, but I am just telling you what's in store. So if you're not really committed and you don't, and there's other things that you kind of, you're 50-50, then let me just make the decision for you. If you can do something else, go and do something else, because you're going to go and do it anyway. You'll try this for a while. It'll get really hard and you'll say, man, this isn't worth it. I can go and do this other stuff and be happy. Why am I putting myself through this? I just wanted to have fun. So once I get through that part, I would then say to them, is there anything else you can do? And sometimes they would say, no, I have to make music. It's in my bones. If I don't make music, I'm unhappy. I feel incomplete. I just have to make music, man. Like I got to do it. And that's when we start to have a real conversation. I go, okay, why? Why music? And you get into the idea of, well, I want to speak to people. I want to have a hit record. I want to, you know, I want to represent to people what other musicians have represented to me. So then it leads to the question, what's a hit record? Okay, what makes a hit? It takes more than you can possibly imagine to write a hit. Okay, to write a hit is one thing, but to make a song become a hit, that's a totally different thing. What does it take to make a song a hit? It takes the song, then you've got to have the right artist for that song, okay? Katy Perry doesn't work singing Taylor Swift songs. Ed Sheeran doesn't work singing I Prevail songs. All of these things need to come into line. So you need to find the song, then the artist, right? Hopefully the artist has written a song that actually works for them. Then you need to, by the way, we're talking about a hit. We're just talking about a hit, okay? And hits are defined by labels. All of those records that are in that picture there were literally printed and paid for by a record label. Artists don't usually pay to have their own gold records printed. They get the bill, but they don't choose to print their own gold records most of the time. Usually, a label will print it and hand it to them and say, here's a representation of how much money you made for us. Why? Because we're the ones that made the song a hit, right? The artist isn't the one that organized all of the promotion, all of the video clips, all the radio promo, all of the all the social media posts, all of the targeting, all the money that went into the targeting. The things that make a song a hit have very little to do with the song. You need to have a good song. You don't have to have a great song. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. You need to have a good song for it to be a hit, but it doesn't need to be a great song. And that's why there are so many times that you listen to hit songs and go, why is that a hit? I could write that. I could write something better than that, probably. Well, the reason that's a hit and yours isn't, or anyone else's, is because they didn't have the stars aligning. And that's what I call it. In order to have a hit, you need, the stars to align. And those stars aligning are the song, the artist, the label, the culture at the time, the branding that you might have aligned yourself with, a bunch of luck, and then everyone else along the chain of command at radio and TV, if it's TV, or at social media, or at licensing for MMA or Disney Plus or whatever. All of those things have to line up. And then the audience has to go, we agree. Right? Once it makes its way down the pipeline that the labels have created, then the audience still has to go, can you play that song again? I like that one. Just to get that response. That's what makes a hit song. Right? So what does this mean? This means, if we go back to our PowerPoint presentation, a good song isn't always a hit song isn't always good. Okay? So you might have a great song. You might have heard great songs. Everyone has. And gone, I can't believe that song's not a hit. It's the best song ever. It's my favorite song. I love it. How come it's not a hit? The reason is because it hasn't gone through that stars alignment process. And the reason that hit songs aren't always good songs is because they have. That's it. That's the only reason. That's what a hit is. A hit is a product that is created by a record label. If you want a hit, right? And when you're writing songs, usually people go, oh man, if we could just get a hit, which now is like a viral video or a placement on a big TV show or whatever, right? Something that generates it to become a hit. The conclusion is hit songs, usually when they're created by a record label, most songs that a record label manufactures into a hit, even if it's a good song, Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, Aqua, I'm a Barbie Girl, you remember these songs, right? They're indicative of the times. They are a time warp. When you hear it, you go back to that time because it's created by a label, because it's fashion and it's music and it's a product, right? So it lasts for a season. That's a hit song. Great songs are usually hits, but they last for a lifetime, right? Which is why my 8-year-old daughter heard Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls and had to have it on repeat, which is why my son says, Daddy, we're waking up. Can you put on our morning song, Beautiful Day? They don't ask for Ice Ice Baby. They might ask for it in the car when they want to hear a good beat, but it's not the soundtrack to their life. It's not a song that they resonate with. And these songs were written at different time, and the Beatles, obviously, right? But like, these are great songs. These are songs that don't need to be made a hit by a record label in order for people to hear them. You can play these songs to an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old, and they're still going to go, I love that song. That's my song. Right? That's what you want. So what this means is, the conclusion is that you have a higher probability of writing a hit song if you write great songs, which is why this course is about writing the best songs. Okay? So I'm going to give you a story now of the example of when I learned this in full completeness, and the stars aligned off luck, perseverance, and a great song. So the story is, maybe, right? This was my first and probably my only, no, it was my second big crossover pop song, right? The first one was the Free Hugs video. The second one was Maybe. The first one was from the Free Hugs video, which was completely viral, completely organic. Maybe was manufactured by a record label. The song wasn't, but the hit was. So the story goes like this. We were writing all of the songs for Tripolar, which was our big platinum multi-album, right? The most successful album that we had. We were writing songs for it, and we had come off the Free Hugs video. We had come off a successful album, and we were in that stars aligning moment where the label was like, as long as you make a good record, you've come this far, you're on a record deal, you kind of do, you're primed and ready. If you give us the right songs, we're going to push it through the pipeline and really blow this up. And we had written some songs, and we were like, well, maybe it's this one, maybe it's that one. We've got one that we think will be a good first single, because we're talking about hits now, right? We want to write great songs. We're trying to make sure every song is great. But we're also like, okay, this is the moment where we might have a breakthrough hit sort of thing, because we're at that stars aligning moment with a record label. And this is why this is a funny story too. We went to the label and we played them like the 6 best songs that we had, and that was like, we're going to get the whole label there. We're going to get people from marketing, people who worked on the last record, right? People from marketing, people from radio, people from distribution, the whole team that we were going to be working with, many of whom had worked with us on the previous record. We played most of the songs, and then we played Maybe, and everyone went, wow, that one, that could be the one. Like that just sounds like a song that you're going to hear everywhere, man. And so they all kind of universally agreed. But in my head, I didn't really like the song. I wasn't sold on the song at first because it had a weird key change. It was really simple. I didn't appreciate it yet. I'd written it with Marty Fredrickson, who's one of the best songwriters of the last 20 years. And I didn't really appreciate how great that song was, because I was like, man, this is really commercial and this is really simple. And like, is this a sellout song? Is this something that people are going to look at us and go like, nah. Because if we swing and we miss, now that song's out there. And I wasn't sure until the following week when we went back to the record label to just have a follow-up meeting about what we're going to do for the release. And the head of marketing for our record, the woman who was in charge of all the marketing, who did a great job on the previous album, took us aside and said, I just wanted to tell you personally, I'm quitting. And we were gutted. We were like, dude, we need you. You're head of marketing. Like, you're the person that made the last one happen, and this is our moment. The stars are aligning. And we were like, are we fucked? Like, what does this mean? And she really was quite honest and humble. And we said, why? Why do you have to go? What is so important? And she said, and I swear to God this happened. She said, my passion is culinary arts. I have wanted to be in the culinary arts. I've wanted to be a chef my whole life. And I've really been thinking, I've been working in the record business for a long time. And if I don't do it, I'm not going to do it. And I've been on the fence. And when I heard Maybe, I couldn't get it out of my head. I have to do it. And that was the moment when I got the song and I understood this song's going to be a hit, because it is that, when you put it with a record label and everything else, if it is that powerful and it's not a hit yet, there's no marketing behind it yet. We just played the song. And it literally made a woman change the course of her life. And she was already on the fence, but she was like, I really don't think I would have done it if I hadn't heard that song. That song just clicked. And we're going to use this concept throughout the classes and the course, of writing songs that are for that moment. Writing songs that are designed to live in that life that a person is living in a microcosm, in a tiny little space of time, where they're on the edge of a decision and they choose one path over another because of your song. And fortunately for us, the last part of the conversation with her was, she said, don't worry, I know who's taking over marketing. I've given them specific instructions. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to be babysitting your project. I'll still make sure it goes well, but I'm not going to be running the ship. I'm going to be checking in. And so everything worked out okay for us. And she went on to be very, very happy. And she went to culinary school, graduated, became a professional chef. And but it was one of the real trigger point moments when I realized I'm actually doing the thing that I set out to do. I wanted to write music that really represented moments like that to other people, because that's what music represented to me. I had my handful of songs that was like, dude, that's my song. That song made me decide to make music. That song made me decide to move out early on my own and do my own thing. That song made me decide you're going to grind instead of getting a day job at this particular point in life when you could just bow out. We have these songs. Your job is to write songs like this and to aspire to dig as deep as is necessary and to use all of the tools available to you to achieve that moment when someone says, not only did your song resonate with me, but it actually made a switch. It actually was, it was an asset to my life as a whole. And I use it as a tool in my life to make my life better. That's the goal. That's the journey. And that's the craft, and that's where the joy comes from. The joy comes from the process of trying to put together something in a very specific way and making it just perfect so that when it lands on someone, that's the reaction. And for them, it's seamless. For you, it was a long process of crafting something, but for them, it's just music. So with that said, let's go to the next part. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about songwriting, I go into my secret ingredient in the next video. Click the thumbnail to watch it right now.